What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. A lot to talk about today. Turns out that Patty Jenkins' story about the scheduling might not be true. Creative differences. Heard that before. But it looks like that's what happened. Rumors abound. Spider-Man trailer, No Way Home, that's dropping tomorrow. They're doing a big fan event for it, so we're going to talk about that. There's a new poster out there already in preparation for the new trailer that is dropping. What are we going to see? Who's going to be there? All that stuff. There's a lot. I saw some movies over the weekend. I saw Shang-Chi, I saw Red Notice, and I saw the Rocky versus Drago cut. I'm going to get into some of it. I'm going to do full reviews on the channel a little later, but I'll get into my thoughts and a few other things, man. I got a lot to talk about today. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot to talk about, and I hope that you're excited to talk about it with me. And I'm going to answer some questions from you guys a little later as well. Now, if you didn't have an opportunity to check out the podcast, please do that. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. We're starting to get more and more people who are checking that out and listening. Please go ahead and do that. And obviously, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, please subscribe. Check it out. And once you do, hit that notification, everybody. All right, let's get into this thing. It's the big thing. It is myself, Kristian Harloff. I'm here talking. Let's talk some movie news and some other stuff, everybody. What's up, everybody? Once again, happy Monday. Oh, man, lots going on. And I got to tell you, thank you for this week in general. Crazy week last week with the Disney Plus stuff and how that all went down. And I talked about it. I did a little video here on about Disney Plus and what they did as far as the content goes. I thought the content was pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we were promised already, but nonetheless, that app has a ton of shit on it. So it's, and in the good way, shit. Got a ton of stuff on it. And they released a whole bunch of great movies on there and more content for people and announced more content. A lot of stuff, again, that we knew it was coming. But it was less about the overall stuff that they gave us and more about the presentation and how it was done. It was like a tweet fest. And they built up their social media on it, and they got viral videos out of it, and they got people tweeting about it. They confused anybody over the age of 55 or 60 years old. What? If I go where? To how to do what? Wait, what? What's a tweet? So you got to be. I don't know. I thought the presentation was pretty lackluster. I was expecting kind of an event. I know it wasn't the Disney presentation that they did last year because that was for investors. But I just think doing it in a string of tweets was not great. But nonetheless, one of the movies that they put on there was Shang-Chi. I got a chance to check that out. I'm going to do I'll give my thoughts on it a little later in the show. But I'm going to do like a full spoiler review on the channel. I'll do a full review of Red Notice on the channel. I'm going to do a full review of Rocky vs. Drago. I'm seeing Ghostbusters. I'm doing a lot for this week. And I wanted to thank you guys because, look, I listened to you. You told me you wanted to see me talk about this shit again and about stuff that I cared about talking about. And that's all stuff I care about talking about. And we're approaching 22,000 subscribers already. We've been on the air now in this channel for like 2 months. I did change the name of the channel. We'll get into that later also. But yeah, man, we're having some fun. And I'm hoping you guys are having fun too. We had some great guests on. Corey Coleman was on recently. I got Matt Serra coming on, former UFC welterweight champion of the world. He's going to be on the show soon. Ellis coming back. We got the Spider-Man rewatches happening. Sith Council. We got the last Star Wars movie we're going to do. There's tons, and I'm excited to be doing it with you guys. Well, let's get into the news here. This obviously Shang-Chi is coming up in a little bit. We'll get into that one. But the first one I really wanted to get into was this Patty Jenkins story, right? All right, so here's what we are hearing. This particular one is from Screen Rant that I'm reading by James Osborne. And this was just a bunch of different places reporting on this morning, but there was a delay, the indefinite delay, coming up to Star Wars film Rogue Squadron. It's reportedly due to creative differences now between Lucasfilm and filmmaker Patty Jenkins. After a mixed response to 2019 Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, I think that's being modest, or a little bit more generous. The Disney-owned production company has been focusing on creating multiple Star Wars TV series for Disney+. The next of these to hit the streaming service will be Book of Boba Fett, which will lead on from the events of The Mandalorian Season 2, and it's scheduled for release in December. Despite the shift in direction, multiple Star Wars spin-offs have been proposed in recent years, including a Top Gun-esque fighter pilot action from Wonder Woman director Jenkins. With an initial release date of December 2023, the film was set to be the first in the franchise directed by a woman, and earlier in the year it was confirmed that a script was almost complete. However, it was recently announced that Rogue Squadron had been indefinitely delayed, with Disney removing it from their release calendar. All right, so now in the latest edition of the reports that the delay is due to creative differences. This is from THR editor Matthew Bologna. So rather than the scheduling conflicts, which, I think we called that. I mean, I don't think too many people really believe that scheduling thing. Some people pushed back on it, saying that it was actually real, but it smelled like farts to me. Bologna? I love some bologna. I don't really like bologna. Salami better. Anyway, let's get on. Bologna suggests the director came into conflict with the studio over the film script and states that Jenkins was unwilling to dick around. I love that. That's why I like her a lot. Just getting tired of it. I can't wait to dive into this thing. Let's keep going. The report also indicates that disagreements between the filmmakers and Star Wars studio producers are becoming worryingly frequent under the management of Kathleen Kennedy. Here are some of Bologna's. I want to at least try some bologna now. Comments on this situation below. Stupid. The real culprit was the dreaded creative differences. Specifically, Jenkins couldn't agree on the script with Lucasfilm executives. It's not unusual, of course, but it's a laughable recurring problem over at Lucasfilm under President Kathleen Kennedy, say agents. Top filmmakers are dying to make a Star Wars movie until they sign on and experience the micromanagement and plot point by committee process. Jenkins wasn't willing to dick around, and she has other projects, notably Wonder Woman 3 at Warner Brothers, where she enjoys more creative freedom. News of the delay might not come as a surprise to Star Wars fans who have been becoming used to this. Game of Thrones. Benioff and Weiss were at one point. They were lined up, that their plans never came to fruition. Rian Johnson's planned trilogy has also been abandoned. Even The Rise of Skywalker struggled with differences with Colin Trevorrow, who was replaced by J.J. Abrams. The delay to Rogue Squadron means there are currently no upcoming Star Wars films with a definite release date. However, Jenkins' movie did get further along in pre-production than other shelf Star Wars films, even releasing an official Rogue Squadron teaser. Fans will still hope that there is enough work done in the film to ensure that it is eventually released, even if Jenkins doesn't go on to helm the project. Regardless of whether Rogue Squadron ever hits the big screen, the frequent cycle of disagreements in Lucasfilm could certainly indicate there are significant issues for the future of Star Wars films. I mean, duh. We've been talking about this shit for a while now. I really, there's the thing. When we talked about this the other day, and we brought it up, and whether it was on Sith Council, whenever we were bringing this up in the first place, we said, I don't know, scheduling, again, you signed on, you can figure out the scheduling, you'll make it work. When you initially do your deal, it's like, okay, I have this going on here, so I can maneuver this, and then when it's like, okay, we just don't want it to get out in the public again, that this is another creative difference, can we agree on scheduling? And that's what they came on, but then reporters do their thing and found out this is what really happened. You're not going to keep people too quiet on it. It is a problem. It's a massive problem. And it's funny because this morning I was looking at, if you're brand new to the channel, welcome, by the way. And what I've been doing every weekend and during the week as well is I've been responding to every comment that comes in. I think that it's the most important thing about YouTube, and I think people have lost that, creators for sure. And it's not always that easy for everybody, but like I spend a lot of hours and just responding to everybody, have conversations, because it also allows me to do things and bring up points like this. Somebody had brought up this morning about how the scheduling and how it all, the creative process of it, and how it keeps happening. And I had brought up on Sid, this is what the particular commenter said, that he agreed with me that the reason why Kathleen Kennedy is considered very successful in her reign during Star Wars, right? And I'm not talking to people, wait, what? We're talking about money, right, in business. And you can give me the whole thing of, yeah, but the Force Awakens made so much, but then if you look at the money that Last Jedi made, it made significantly less than the first one. It still made $1 billion. Same thing with the last movie. It still made $1 billion, whatever, close to it, whatever it was. So those are wins. However, and I said the other thing that you have to also give credit to is it seems like that Kathleen Kennedy is a lot more creatively hands off and more of like as where Patty Jenkins is talking about how she wanted this creative freedom that she gets at Warner Brothers. That seems to be what Kathleen Kennedy is doing for TV. But it's not what she's doing for the films. And it's continuing to be a problem over there because there's a lot of money on the table when it comes to it. Hence the $1 billion and all that stuff. So it's this formula, this micromanaging of what we want to do. I think, I could be wrong, but she doesn't want to go as inside baseball with a lot of this stuff and doesn't want to give as much creative freedom. And I think that they get, trigger shy on the films now because of some of the backlash and the fans not being on the same side. But as this guy was saying when he was commenting, he was saying that, yes, you have to give her credits for the win on television, right? But the problem is you also have to look at the problem of what's happening inside of the films of this continuous problem happening. Because eventually, and I had equated it to owning a baseball team or owning any sports team, and you keep getting wins and you keep getting championships. But eventually, if you are not managing the team the right way that fans are happy with, right, the season ticket holders are going to start dropping off. And that's where the argument of the $1 billion as opposed to the $2 billion or whatever it was, is a factor. And it certainly is a factor. There's no doubt about it. So I still have been saying this for a long time. I don't understand when it comes to this. They're having this massive success with Mandalorian season 1 and 2. And it has everything to do with the broken record thing that I kept saying about the paying homage to the things that inspired Star Wars, as opposed to these what you think is going to work commercially inside of film. It's the old school way of thinking as far as film goes, and let's make Top Gun in space, and then we'll do this and we'll do that. It's like, but are you following the philosophies, right? And I don't know what the creative differences were. I don't know, but this report's not wrong when it keeps happening, and they didn't even mention, the Gareth Edwards' big problem there. Tony Gilroy had to come in and fix it. Lord and Miller, they didn't mention Lord and Miller inside of that report. It's happened on almost every movie. And then Rian Johnson, they mentioned the trilogy not happening. You haven't heard anything about it at all. That's less about, projects, again, fall apart. I don't understand why they keep announcing things. Like, just wait until you start shooting before. Even with that, Solo, they had all those problems. But what I don't understand is you've had this success, and it doesn't have to be a Kevin Feige, but it has to be someone who is in the reins as if you're going to be the overall head, and Kathleen Kennedy is the overall head of everything, putting the philosophies of what she's doing very well in television. And it is not fair, though, that when people look, I think the film division right now is a disaster. I think it's a disaster. I think that from this adds to the disaster, from the way that the trilogy was handled, to the way that some of the actors were treated, the entire the scripts and what they're deciding to make, what they're not deciding to make, the directions of things, the film division, whether you had wins or not, which I still think business-wise there were a lot of wins in that. Rogue One was a win financially, minus the problems on it. The new trilogy was a win financially, minus the problems created. But overall, the way that the films are being handled, it's a disaster. And it's why I feel that, for me, and it has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with all that, because you can't then start to put the same thing towards television, because television has been handling, I think, correctly, and not just Mandalorian, from the way that they're then saying, okay, spinoffs here, connectivity, plans, like that's important. It's important to say, okay, Boba Fett's going to show up here in season 1. We're going to tease him. Inside of that tease, he's going to have a prominent part in the second season. He's going to have a big role. And then That's how we spin it off. Instead of just throwing this movie together that we're going to do, the Tales of the Bounty Hunter thing that we're just going to kind of throw. Boba Fett has a movie now, like Han Solo. He's got a movie now. Who's doing it? Josh Trank. No, Josh Trank's another person. He's gone. He was there and then he was gone. So what and even the Obi-Wan movie was another one. Obi-Wan movie was a movie that they had set and they had the director of Billy Elliot and gone. That anything in film just falls to pieces, and then it's like TV's like, let us take it because we can do some good things with TV. And now Obi-Wan's gonna be like the most anticipated thing. People will throw back. Well, even Obi-Wan had some shifts in showrunner and things like that. That's where I can start to say that happens in television sometimes. It's hard to keep saying it in film. Well, it happens sometimes. It happens every time with film, every time. So. It will every time in Star Wars film. But if you're doing these things the right way inside of and putting these plans together inside of TV, and I get it, it's different with Disney Plus. For Disney Plus, if I'm Lucasfilm and I say, okay, you know what, I'm going to take a risk here. I can take the risk, and I can make an Acolyte series. If I'm Kathleen Kennedy, who. And before I say this, I want to make it very clear. You don't have to be a hardcore Star Wars fan and know all the ins and outs to run Lucasfilm. You don't. But you should have someone like that who's running the creative and having these conversations with the director inside of the creative, because it doesn't come off genuine if you think everything's inside baseball and you're just trying to do certain things when you clearly can do that because you're doing it for Mandalorian. Because Favreau was an original trilogy guy. That's where his love came from. His original trilogy. It's like as deep dive into the the novels and all that and the animated. He was a voice obviously in Clone Wars, but that's how he met Filoni. But what he did very well was come on into this process and learn more from Filoni. The way that Filoni learned from Lucas, as far as a filmmaker goes, he's leaps and bounds over Filoni as far as that side of it. That's not what I meant. I'm talking about the philosophies of Star Wars and the understanding, and he's picking it up, and he's getting it, and and instead of doing turning the Mandalorian into the Boba Fett series, they said, can we maneuver this and place Boba Fett, and they place it to where then he gets. Now when this book of Boba Fett thing comes out, you're like, wait a minute, this is a gangster story. I didn't know that. This is the guy that we saw Tamora Morrison. He popped up in season 2. I care now. I didn't give a shit about a Boba Fett movie. I didn't care about a Boba Fett series. I couldn't give two shits if this guy was ever going to come back. Oh, yeah, he got out of the Starlight Pit. Good for him. Now I care. Now I want to know how, because of setup. And this is why I've been singing from the hills, why television is so important. Because it just allows you to build and breathe. And to reiterate the point that I've said a million times over with film is that it's why these films are taking so long, because you only have so much good grace with the fans in general after every film comes out, right? Because you only have it sits with you. Now, they were pushing out the new trilogy movies every 2 years. Still 2 years. So The Force Awakens, they got lucky with, and the majority of people, some people called it a rehash of New Hope, and we're saying, okay, it's just a remake, blah, 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 blah. Most people felt the spirit back and they were excited about it. Then Rogue One hit. So it's like, they're back on a roll. So it was like, and that was 1 year after Rogue One, right? So they're back on a roll. So by the time you got to Last Jedi, and then it just set everything apart, then you had 2 years to stew right afterwards, because Solo then comes out like 5 or 6 months after Last Jedi, and then you're just stewing in Star Wars. What the hell's going on with Star Wars for like almost a year, almost 2 years. TV, you wait a week until the next episode. I hated that episode. It was a bunch of filler. But then the next week, you're back in the good graces. So I understand why they're worried about it, but I think it's a matter of just having that creative piece. Put Filoni and Favreau in charge of the whole damn creative side of it. Let them handle the films too. They can, and it's not a matter of them directing everything. Look at what's going on with Obi-Wan. Deborah Chow became a student of the philosophies of Star Wars and all of it. Like, you watch that gallery series during Disney Plus. She's like, her eyes are wide and she's super excited, and she's like, you hear her, you see her listening, and she looks like a little kid at Disneyland. like who's just so excited to be in this world. And you look at her episodes and it shows. I can't wait. And it's a brilliant move. You give her the entire series for Obi-Wan. And she has learned all this stuff from Filoni and Favreau, and now she's just such a brilliant filmmaker in general. Watch what she does. Like, and they would be able to do the same thing inside of film. And Kathleen Kennedy is a great producer. And don't take that away from her. From just because she's like, I guess, you know what? I understand, because the argument can then be, well, how good of a producer is she if this keeps happening? Well, that's not a producer. That's the head. That is the head of Lucasfilm. I don't think she's doing a great job as the head of Lucasfilm right now. Because, as I said, as a producer on The Mandalorian, producer on TV, she's crushing it. Doing a great job. Problem is, there's a whole side of where Star Wars was built on, and that's film. And when Patty Jenkins doesn't want to dick around because she's got other things to do, it's a problem. It's a problem. And if it is an issue if it keeps on happening again. And then Chapek, all I know is that I just feel like the Benny Hill music should start playing every time this guy makes a speech at this point. He's not getting the respect. He certainly doesn't have the respect as Bob Iger. You know, that's going to be hard to do in general. But I don't know, man. This is interesting. Obviously didn't mean to spend as much time on it, but it's a massive thing. It's a massive thing. Let's move on. We got more stuff to talk about, but comment below. Let's have the conversation about it. What do you think overall? Even if you were on, maybe for a long time, because I saw comments recently like, look, I think Kathleen Kennedy is a good producer, but you have to acknowledge after a while when this keeps happening, it's an issue. Do you think it's not an issue still? It's not a pile-up thing. This is just like anybody. Again, going to that baseball team manager, it's like after a while you got to say, is this the right person to manage the team? Is it time to move on? Like she's not going to be able to find another gig. She doesn't want it. I also don't understand why she wants to keep doing this. Star Wars, that is. She's been around forever. She's super successful. She's a great producer. She had a lot of championship wins, minus just Star Wars, under her belt. So it's not like she's going to be hurting for work if she decides to move on and go somewhere else. But I don't know what it is. She wants to keep doing it. But again, it's like you look at that television side and what's going on over there, and the wins that are happening. Although no announcements, Obi-Wan or when that trailer is coming out, or I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess. All right, let's move on. Moving on to the next story, as Patty Jenkins. We know that was going on. So what's the next one here? Let's see. There's some other stories. Speaking of Disney, let's just stick with Disney here. And there's Disney Plus. Where is it? I got it. It's little. It's little. Blow it up for you guys. So, woo! So there was a report. Let me read the report on what's going on with Disney Plus, because I think that, speaking of Chapek, he was talking about what they're going to do next year and how they're going to change their plan or what they're going to do with it in general. Apparently, they're going to stay flexible with the release strategy. This is from Dark Horizons, who says Universal started the ball rolling with the Trolls World Tour, and then Warner's went the biggest with their entire 2021 slate going day and date. Day and date. I really want that to continue. I know you guys aren't with me on that, but I do. But Disney has written its own chapter in the great streaming film release experiments of the past 2 years. Now, Disney sent 5 films to its Premier Access service, which saw day and date theatrical releases on the Disney Plus service for those willing to pay premium pricing. Others, like Soul, Luca, and less prestigiously Artemis Fowl, were sent straight to regular Disney Plus without any additional cost. This week, speaking to investors during a fourth quarter earnings call, Chapek says they're going to be flexible with their strategy towards exclusive theatrical windows as opposed to other studios who have made reaffirmations towards exhibitors. Chapek says, we're sticking with our plan of flexibility. We're still unsure in terms of how the marketplace is going to react when family films come back with a theatrical first window. While COVID will be in the rearview mirror, God willing, I think change in consumer behavior will be more permanent. We're watching very, very carefully different types of movies to see how the different components of the demographics of that market come back. You'll notice that the films we are putting into the marketplace that are theatrical and are family films have a fairly short window. We're doing that so we can get our films quicker to Disney Plus, but at the same time see if the theatrical market can kick back into full gear as we prime the pump with these films. Chapek also says those days of big presentations, Marvel's phase slate announcements, last year's Star Wars Investor Days presentation are pretty much over. Boo. As the studio will hold its cards closer to the chest in the future. Stupid. We're going to do what's best for our shareholders, ultimately. Big shock. We don't announce our films that far in advance like we used to because we know we're in a time flux and change. We'll get some of that. Disney has more recently committed to a theatrical exclusive releases, with some working out like Shang-Chi with $430 million and some not. 20th Studios' The Last Duel with $26 million. That should have definitely been on the streaming service. It's also recently experimented with PVOD strategies as well, as several premium access titles like Cruella and Jungle Cruise arrived on PVOD services like iTunes and Amazon 1 month after the premiere access released and 2 to 3 months before the regular Disney Plus releases. On the other hand, Shang-Chi opted to try a simultaneous PVOD on other services and regular, no additional fee Disney Plus released this week. /film on that one. All right. A couple things here with this. This is just an overall thing, so I'm not going to give Chapter too much crap on this because who knows what the hell it's going to be like soon, right? Who knows? It keeps changing, and that's why I bring up the HBO Max thing. I don't even know. HBO Max is... I don't know. They're not going to stick to that same schedule because they pissed off too many filmmakers. They don't want to do that. They probably just say, hey, we're just doing it for this year because we didn't know what was happening, and I think the strategy was right. They'll probably do a 30 to 45 day. I don't love the Disney Plus thing that they do. I don't love it. Because for me, I'm a Disney Plus subscriber, and, if I'm paying an extra 30 or 45 bucks to $30 or whatever it is to get a movie, well, why am I paying for your service? I get, like, if you're putting it on Amazon and Apple and everything, and then you're charging like $20-30 for it, I get it, but I should have access to it if that's what I'm a subscriber. It's like I am investing in your company by doing that. I'm not an investor per se, but I am an investor in choosing to the money that I make from work that I'm putting into your service because you're entertaining. You got a lot of stuff that I want to see, but you're going to also charge me an extra $30 to do that? I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love that plan for Disney Plus. I do understand having it on the separate services and doing it that way. If you're not a Disney Plus subscriber and you want to get it, well, instead of paying that $20 or $30, like, so you put Shang-Chi out when it comes out, and Disney Plus, you get it. That's whether it's 30 days later or whatever it might be. Okay, I get it. But if I'm not a subscriber to Disney Plus. But shoot, I keep wanting to see these movies, the Marvel ones, the Star Wars movies coming out. I might as well just subscribe. I got to pay an extra $30. I don't like that plan, but it seems like it did okay for them. So what the hell do I know about it? But I think it's just a matter of the titles, like they said, Luca, Cruella, other ones. The Last Duel. Because you heard Ridley Scott was coming all pissy now, blaming superhero movies and everything too. Which is things change, man. What people want to see and what they want to spend money on in the theaters, and streaming has changed it too. It's not just superhero movies, guys, that have changed, or comic book movies. It's not just it's a matter of what you want to see when you go to a theater, and what you want to spend money on. I know that the old school film people, they want to have this idea that everything needs to be seen in the theater because that's the way it was built out on. But that's not the way it is for people. It's the same way, like, listening to music now. Oh, man, we should be listening to records. Records are great. But not everybody's going to be into records because now you can just press play on your computer and you can get any song that you want. Things change. That's part of it. I get the film purist part of it. And I love the fact that everybody's got to run out and want to go see every movie in the theaters, but people don't want to spend money for it because it's like, well, Last Duel, it's something I'd be, I'm going to watch that with my wife. I'm going to curl up on like a Friday night, check it out, and I'm going to watch that movie with her because we want to see that movie. We want to watch it. I didn't go to the theater to see it. I didn't go to the screening to see it. It probably would have been great in the theater. Look, I know people are still giving me shit about seeing Dune. I have a pretty nice TV back here. Listen to the surround sound. I loved it. Put on the subtitles. One of my favorite movies of the year, if not my favorite. Didn't hurt the experience for me. I'm sure it would have been incredible, and I'm sure that if I saw it in IMAX, that would have lost my mind. It just was hard for me because I had seen Eternals the night before. It's hard for me to go 2 nights in a row. It's not like the old school schmoes days. I got 2 kids now. I'm just like, back-to-back days. It's like I space them out. I'm going to see Ghostbusters tonight. We'll have a review on the channel as soon as the embargo is done, by the way. Anyway, the one thing, like Chapek says, though, it's going to change. It's going to continue to change. I don't like the idea that they're not doing these announcements. I think that's fun to do those events, the Marvel big things that they used to do. I think I also understand, though, because look at this Patty Jenkins situation. You announce something big, and then it falls apart, and you get shit for it. So that part of it I get. Lots happening, lots going on. I want to move into some stuff here. And the question is, I know a lot of you guys are still wiping your ass with toilet paper, right? And I get it. It's what people told you to do. Same way you're supposed to go see everything in the movie theaters. But just wiping your ass all the time, it gets it's tough. It's tough. And plus the fact, I want to give my family and friends something more memorable than a gift card this holiday. It can be tough to think of just a meaningful gift. I'm terrible at gifts. I'm terrible at gifts. So I wanted to think of something unique that's cool and eco-friendly, techie, but also affordable. Hello, Tushy Bidets. It ticks all of the boxes. If you guys are buying for like a lot of family members, Hello, Tushy Bidets are a great gift for your eco-conscious cousin, neat freak sister, the farty dad, and anyone who poops. That's everyone. We all deserve a better clean while we're contributing to a healthier planet. Let's talk about that gift that keeps on giving. Hello, Tushy Bidet. It cleans your butt way better than wiping. It cuts down your toilet paper use by how much? 3%? Nope, 80%. It saves trees and all the thousands of gallons of water used to convert them into toilet paper. And it comes with a book full of poop jokes. That alone is enough. I got that Tushy a while ago when we first had it, and I said, all right, let me see, because I like wiping my tush. Not anymore. Spray. Feels nice. It's good, man. You feel so much more classier too. Stop spreading your business around your butthole with toilet paper. Start washing with Hello Tushy. This is what it does. You can wash your bum with fresh water for a way better clean than toilet paper. It is a simple spray, and you pat dry. It attaches to your existing toilet. There's no electrician or plumber needed, and it installs in less than 8 minutes. You can cut down your TP use by 80%, saving money and paper waste. Join the millions of Hello Tushy customers right now who take care of their Yule logs the defined way. Give the gift of a clean bum to yourself or your loved ones this holiday season and get 10% off plus free shipping right now at hellotushy.com/bigthing. What I want you to do is you got to tag me and at Hello Tushy on social media so we can celebrate your clean ass. As soon as you get it, do that. Show me. I don't want to see your butt, but I do want to see the picture of the Hello Tushy. That's hellotushy.com/bigthing. You get 10% off and free shipping. That's pretty good. I'm loving it. You should love it too. All right, let me jump into something before we get into some more news. I'll tell you a couple things that I saw over the weekend, and I guess and like I said, I'm going to be doing some more reviews overall. Like, saw the Rocky versus Drago cut. I'm going to do like a full spoiler review on my channel. So this is going to be just the non-spoiler one. So it was like a one-day thing. So Stallone had. Let's rewind. Stallone talked about wanting to recut Rocky 4 and call it Rocky versus Drago. Posted on his Instagram. He's been talking about it, I think it was just an initial cleanup. And then his buddy, who I interviewed with Devon Sawa for Escape Plan 2, is that what it was? I can't remember the guy's name. John, I can't remember. Anyway, so he directed. He started filming Sly at this as they were going to direct, as he's making his cuts to this movie, and there was this documentary that they put on YouTube, and they dropped it, and even Stallone was like, "What are you doing? You're making a documentary? Who the hell's going to watch this?" And it's got like, I think 400,000 views, 500,000 views, maybe more. I don't know. But it's great. and it's so inspirational. It really is. The documentary was so inspirational. It's just what he wanted to do, looking at himself as a man and realizing the failures that he had had and the what ifs. And he has this great conversation with the audience where he's like, if there's anybody out there who says that you wouldn't go back and do things differently, you're full of shit, basically. And he's like, there's always things, and I'm learning. And you see as his idea of why he wants to change it, the story of how he wanted to turn it more into a drama. There wasn't everything I agreed with. Like he says that Rocky, at the end of it, he says Rocky's not a sports film. Of course it is. And he's like, it's a drama. I'm like, you can still be a sports film and be a drama. It's of course it's a sports film. It's like saying that Major League's just a comedy. It's a sports comedy. It's a sports drama. It's of course it's a sports film, and it's the essence of what sports are, and the fight, what sports are supposed to be about. It's not just about winning and losing. It's about the determination. It's pure sports. But anyway, that's the documentary itself. Great. So I was very curious, and what the documentary does very well is it gets you very interested in wanting to watch this cut. I wanted to see it anyway because I'm a diehard Rocky fan. And to go into this, by the way, Rocky IV, I always enjoyed. I think the Rocky IV fight was incredible. The setup between Rocky and Drago, but it's a very, and he says as much in the documentary. It's like a movie. It's a music video, and for the most part, it's not as structured and as thought out as I thought the other three movies were. Like the other three movies, I can place them back and forth as far as when I watch them, which one hit for me more. Sometimes I can put 2 over 1, and I can put 1 over 2. I can put 3 over 1, 2, and 3 are interchangeable as my favorites. Like I always find things new and that I love about them. Rocky IV Rocky IV and Rocky V were similar to me in if Rocky IV would have ended in a street fight with Rocky and Drago, it would have been one of the worst movies of all time. But it didn't. It ended in the ring. As silly as it was with the Russians cheering Rocky at the end of it, right? Fun moment. But it would have been terrible if they didn't fight in the ring. Same thing in Rocky V. If, rest in peace, Tommy Morrison, if he would have fought Rocky in the ring at the end of 5, and Rocky would have bounced back and said, okay, we were kind of off medically on his thing. He actually can fight, and he did, and he beat Tommy Morrison in the ring. Much better film. I know some people like the street fight. It's not what Rocky's all about. And that's when I think he started to get into that drama thing and all that. Which is, again, you can be a drama and still, the basis of why we loved Rocky for 4 movies was because he was fighting in the ring, not in the street. My ring's outside. So that all that being said, so Rocky IV, and it was very short. It's easy to watch. It's like an hour and 25 minutes. So the idea of turning it into like a full-on drama, and then he admits so in this drama, in the documentary, that he wouldn't have killed Apollo. He would have put him in a wheelchair, and that part I think that they should have kept Apollo around. But then again, what happens to Creed and all that? Because I think Creed 1 and 2 are fantastic. So Rocky versus Drago, it starts out, and again without full spoilers, more so. There's a recap of Rocky 3, which in every Rocky 2, 3, and 4, even 5, it starts off with the Rocky letters kind of going into it, and then you see a recap of the last fight. It's been that since Rocky 2. This is less of that. Well, this is more recap, but not of the fight itself. It's the stuff, all the stuff leading up to it of what happened. And I guess maybe it's a recap. I was like back and forth on whether or not I liked it or not, because I was like, well, this is a 30-year-old movie. So for people who are watching this who may not have seen Rocky 3 recently, when Rocky 4 came out, it was only, 3 years removed or something like that? So, or 2 years removed, whatever it was. It was, okay, so this is different. You can't just assume that everybody knew Rocky 3. Like me, I know like the back of my hand. But understanding what he's trying to do and building up that relationship with Apollo, because it's more about Apollo, that was fine. I said, okay, it is a lot of, in the beginning, that's kind of setting you up to, he cut a lot of stuff out, though. Now, what I thought he was going to do, because he mentioned he was cutting the robot out, so we knew that was gone, and I get it. There was a lot of humor that was cut out of this film that I didn't think needed to be cut out of the film. Because it's not like, because Paulie still has some humor, but it plays towards the end of the movie. But there's a lot of stuff that Paulie had in the beginning that I thought was gone. His son's basically cut from it. He cut all of Brigitte Nielsen's stuff.
like gone. And I don't know if that was like because of a thing, because, you know, they were together at one point and they weren't. I don't know what their relationship's like now, but she is an afterthought. She has got like one or two lines. There was a great line in that movie right before the exhibition match between Apollo and Drago. And Brigitte Nielsen comes up to Apollo's wife and says that, you know, talks about like gives her a speech of like, look, they're sportsmen, not soldiers, whatever she says to him. And then she goes and sits down, and she smokes the cigarette. She says, it's like that's gone. And when she's at the press conference asking the reporters why, there's the sympathy. She tries to get sympathy a couple times right throughout the movie, and that's gone. Right, the stuff with the son is basically gone. Cut a lot of stuff out I didn't think needed to be cut out. There were certain things that he did, like there's a scene with him and Apollo. Again, I don't want to go too spoiler into it. I'll get more into that when I review it. But there was a lot of things that were cut that I didn't think needed to be cut. And then the music video stuff that I was like, okay, well, he's going to cut down on that. That's still there, minus some, you know, instead of in color, some of the stuff's in black and white. And all the James Brown stuff is still there. The two videos, the montages, they're all there. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that I didn't know a lot didn't need to be changed. There's some new stuff that he put in that I thought could have just been added to the original cut, like additional scenes, because this movie's still an hour and a half. I thought it was going to be like almost 2 hours, like adding some stuff, but he cut so much that it's still an hour and a half. There's a lot of stuff I just didn't think needed to be cut. Now, my favorite part about this Rocky IV is the same thing I liked about the original Rocky IV, is the fight. It's changed. It's different. He repeats a few shots in that you see twice, a couple different times that he repeats. That, like, you know, there's one point where Paulie's like rubbing Duke's head too early, and then he does it again, and it takes it away from him. So, but overall, the fight's a little bit more brutal. It does link to Creed more. This one links to Creed more. Like, if you watch this one, it links better to Creed and Creed 2. But that's it. I mean, that's brief stuff. I'll go more heavy into it when I review it on the channel. But yeah, did you guys check it out? Did you like it? What'd you think? I'm curious. All right, let's get back into some news. I'm telling you, man, we got a lot today. I don't know, this might be a little longer of an episode, so bear with me, everybody. What else we got going on? We got the Disney stuff we got going on. Oh, some box office stuff. Eternals, I think, just beat out Clifford. I watched Clifford with my kids. Cute movie. It's not, you don't rush out and need to go see it if you're not but I really enjoyed it with the kids. It was pretty formulaic, but nonetheless, I enjoyed it. It was, but let's see what the overall, what it is. Box office, Eternals holds off Clifford, is what they say on Dark Horizons. And what they're saying is that Marvel's Eternals retained the box office crown at the U.S. box office this weekend, pulling in a further $27.5 million and now hitting $118 million on the domestic front. It fell 61% from its debut. Comparatively, Shang-Chi fell 52%, and Black Widow fell 67%. Internationally, Eternals fared much better with a further $48 million added, a softer drop of 49%. After 2 weekends of release, the film's global tally sits at $281 million. Coming in second was the family film Clifford the Big Red Dog, which overcame weak critical reviews. I understand that. It seems like it should have been on Paramount Plus, probably exclusively. It seems like a direct-to-DVD movie back in the day. But my kids loved it, so I guess maybe that's why I enjoyed it. I probably would have been a little less forgiving had I seen this with Ellis a few years ago. Dune came in third with $5.5 million, stands at $93 million in the United States and $351 million globally. That's great. $400 million. Good for Dune. With internationally pulling a further $6.8 million this weekend, the movie's now close to about $400 million. No Time to Die, that one I haven't seen yet, was fourth with $4.6 million following 7 weekends, close to $700 million globally, with over $558 million. Someone told me that was a bomb. What the hell are they talking about? $700 million globally? It's the biggest overseas grosser of not 2021, but over the entire pandemic era, overtaking Fast 9. I talked about how it made money internationally, and I had some commenter saying how I was crazy, that it lost money. It's $700 million. The hell you want it to do? Not everything makes $1 billion. Marvel and Sony's Venom
Let There Be Carnage also hit a milestone, becoming only the second film to pass the 200 million mark did it really? Holy shit, at the U.S. domestic box office this year. Wow. As it was in 5th place in the weekend with a further $4 million. $200 million that movie made? Good for that movie. I haven't seen that thing. But I like Andy Serkis. So, on the limited release front, Kenneth Branagh's acclaimed black and white autobiographical film, Belfast, managed to hit 7th place with $1.8 million, with 580 domestic theaters. Okay. I mean, there's really not much to say there. You know, it's Eternals, probably going to drop off pretty soon, and it already has domestically, you know. But you're still in this era where numbers are, they got to gauge numbers differently than they did a while ago. But hell, man, $200 million for Venom. It's pretty good. I wonder how much that movie made. I mean, it would cost to make. How much to make? I just told you, stupid. I mean, $200 million. How much it cost to make? Because I can't imagine it. I don't know. I'm sure that Tom Hardy's price tag went down a little because he's producing it. So I wonder how much. I'm not going to look it up. You guys look it up. You can tell me in the comments section. What did you guys do over the weekend? Did you eat some foods? I hope you ate some good foods. But you got to be eating Butcher Box, everybody. You got to be eating Butcher Box. Holy shit balls. I love Butcher Box. I love Butcher Box. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. I just got the new box the other day. Oh, I love it. It's delicious. Have you guys tried it yet? I mean, I keep telling you about it. Eventually, you're gonna listen. And if you are listening, what do you think so far? Because when it comes to the meat that's going to be the centerpiece of your holiday meals, quality matters. We just got this brisket. Oh, stew beef. I want to go in there now. I like talking to you guys, but I want to be eating this stuff right now. And when you invest in high-quality meat from Butcher Box, the benefits go way beyond a great-tasting meal. Facts. Butcher Box sources their meat from partners with the highest standards for quality. There's no more searching the grocery store for 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, and more. Their sourcing decisions are made holistically, keeping the farmer, the planet, the animal, and your family in mind. All of that is 100% fact. And we used to spend so much money at the grocery store on this stuff. This is the deal. You can custom make your own box. We just did that myself, my wife and I. We felt like we were just like, it was like, you know, maybe it's because we're married people now, but it was like the highlight on our night. We're like sitting down, picking out all the meat and looking at all the stuff and saying, oh, there's the chicken tenders. There's this. They have, there's salmon. Oh, we can barbecue. We can grill here. I love the steaks. They have the New York strips, which is my favorite. And I do it, you know, I just do it just medium. Talk about really delicious food. They got it all. It is so yummy. I love it, guys. Check it out. We did a shepherd's pie with some of the ground beef the other day. Woo! It was for the whole family. It was a nice cold meal. Delish. People were raving about it. It's really great. I love it because it's so convenient. You can if you decide I want to custom make the box. This is too much meat for me. I'm not going to need it next month. Put it on pause and then bring it back up when you need it. That's what I'm doing. And we fire through this stuff, but still. Every month, Butcher Box ships a curated selection of high-quality meat right to your home. Free shipping for the continental U.S. There's no antibiotics or added hormones. Each box contains 8 to 14 pounds of meat, depending on the box that you choose. That's enough for 24 individual meals. It's packed fresh and shipped frozen for convenience, so you can save time on your next grocery store trip. You can customize your own box, or you go with one of theirs, as I was talking about. Either way, you get exactly what you want. They have good boxes they put together, too. I'm just very specific on chicken and beef. I like to make my own. Butcher Box is now offering new members $20 off and free bacon in your first box. Really good bacon. This offer is going to end, though, on November 21st, so get the deal before it's gone. You should do it today. Sign up at butcherbox.com/SENLive. That is the code. It's SEN Live. It has a big thing here, but SEN Live. Try both. Sign up at butcherbox.com/SENLive. And that's butcherbox.com/SENLive. Try that one. Because they sent me this new one. I think either one should work. So if butcherbox.com/big thing doesn't work, try butcherbox.com/SENLive. But either way, you get 20% off on your first box, and it's worth it. It is delicious, guys. I didn't know about them until they were inquiring about, coming on in as a sponsor, and I said, well, let me try some of it. And they sent it. I bother these people all the time. I want to learn more about them. I wish I would have invested in them, to be honest. So delicious. Love that place. Get it. All right, let's see if there's any other stories to talk about because I'm going to finish up some of the other reviews of stuff that I saw. I have started watching Dexter. I'm only one episode in. I think I'm just going to review the whole season when I'm done with it. Let me see if there's anything else that is worth talking about here. Oh, yeah. There's one more thing. Because this is tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a massive day for everybody. All right, Clifford, take it easy, will you? So, is that it? There it is. That's the new poster for Spider-Man that they dropped. It came out. And that's after doing this whole rewatch of the Spider-Man movies. If you haven't checked it out, please do. I've been doing them every Friday. Myself, Winston Marshall, and Coy Andrew. There's a playlist of the actual movies as well, and I'll put a iCard in there so you can check that out if you want to watch it. But after looking at the last, we just finished Homecoming. And there's always that criticism about Homecoming that it's like a more of an Iron Man movie than a Spider-Man movie. And I never felt that way. I think that he's in it, and he's in it for like 15 minutes total. Iron Man, it's a complete Spider-Man movie in my opinion. With this one, when they put Doctor Strange on there, like, oh, they got to rely on Doctor Strange. This is going to lead into the multiverse stuff and all that, and it plays into it, and we're so far along inside of the MCU in general and where it ultimately goes. But it's less about that and more about the fact that they're doing like a whole trailer event for this thing, because this is how big this movie is already becoming. Like people want to go see this trailer in the theaters for like an event, and there's like special guests. Is it going to be Toby and Andrew and all that? And I haven't really talked about the leaks. I talked to Campia when the next day, not about necessarily what happened, but like more so just because I think people pile up and shit on people when they, look, if he fucked up and sent the pictures out and didn't know that he was doing it, then he didn't know he was doing it. And he fucked it up for some people. Then he owned it and he moved on. He would feel terrible if it turns out to be the thing. I just don't necessarily know about in general. But anyway, that being said, the movie, the trailer comes out tomorrow. It's Tuesday. And this thing's going to just tear the internet up. Like, it's going to be massive, right? I'll be doing a reaction to it, definitely, because I'm very excited for this film. I want to check it out. Probably do more of like an in-depth breakdown of the trailer on Big Thing on Wednesday. But the trailer reaction itself will be tomorrow, and everybody and their mother's going to be doing one, right? And everybody and their mother's going to be watching all of them because they want to see all the excitement from it. Did I think that Toby and Andrew were in it beforehand? Yeah, it made sense. The second they put Doc Ock in there, and I get it. I talked to a bunch of people. They said, I would rather have seen them in the movie, been surprised, watched the moment, how it happened. Whether or not they put them in the trailer or not, because that's the question everyone's talking about. Is Sony going to put, now that the leaks came out, is Sony going to put them in there? Because everybody knows they're in there anyway. They're going to get excitement to it. Here's I'm going to relate it to myself. So John Roca, we just got him. We just announced that he's going to have a match at Spectacular, and if you're a patron, you'll find out today who that person is. So I told people that on the Facebook group that if you're a patron, you're going to find out on Wednesday. You'll find out exactly who's playing. People are like, well, why don't you just tell us at Spectacular? If it was a Spectacular, it's just kind of a surprise when we're there. We won't know. Well, there's two sides to that. For the people who already bought the tickets, the people who were there, that experience, that's true. You'll be there. You'll be sitting, and then you're like, oh, okay, I know he's playing someone, but I don't know who. But the flip side of that is, when we announce who it is and we start promoting it, who it is, then the people who didn't know about the event in general, didn't know who he was playing, then say, oh, well, I either do want to see that even more, or I don't want to see it. And the people who got the tickets go, well, I was excited before, but man, either I'm really excited now, or okay, now I know who he's playing. And the same goes to be with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, right? It's like, okay, we saw these pictures. Do I think that they're real? I do. Do I think that the other shoot? Sorry, see, that's the thing, is that
not everybody wanted to see the leaks. So, do I think there's other things that I saw? I'm sorry if I fucked that up for people that didn't see it, because I'm just talking about it as if I thought everybody saw it. But do I think other things inside of those pictures? Yeah, I do. I think they're real. I'll put a warning in there that I talk about the spoilers a little bit. But anyway, Toby and Andrew, if they're in the movie and they show them in the trailer, it promotes the movie more. Because remember, as big as this movie is, I'm telling you, I've been trying to do this every time. I try to call John Pinto. And he's my buddy from home. He's a movie fan. He never knows what the fuck's going on. He probably wouldn't have no idea that there's a series about Obi-Wan. Probably has no idea about this movie in general, as far as No Way Home. I gotta try to call him and see if he picks up. Probably working is the thing. He never picks up. I'm gonna try to get him to pick up because he's not gonna pick up. Because my point is, if they start to promote, like to Pinto, if they promote to him and tell him that Toby and Andrew, I say, wait a minute, these guys are coming back. This is another one? They're in the same movie? You think people are going to start talking more with that marketing. So I understand both ways. Either way. All right, that comes out. And that's it. All right, let's get into a couple more things here. And then I'm going to get into some questions. I promised you guys I would answer. I pulled some questions from my Facebook group, and I want to make sure that I honor that. And I will do that. I have some of those questions. So it'll be a little bit of a longer episode today. So let's get back to... So there's a poster. I do like that poster, though. I like that poster better than the other one. The multiverse kind of coming in on them, and you got the arms and then the goblins in the back there. It's so much. I like this poster significantly better than the other one that they released the other day. All right, let's see. What's this one? I'll bring this up. Started watching Red Notice last night. This is not going to be a full review on it because I'm not done with it yet. There's not going to be a spoiler review. This reminds me. My wife, as we're watching it halfway through, she's like, "Is this meant for kids?" Because it's definitely a soft PG-13. The Rock and Ryan Reynolds are pretty much playing characters that they've played a million times over, right? I actually think Gal Gadot is the best part of this movie because she's doing something a little different than she normally does, and I think she has a lot of fun with this role. The movie itself is basically Rock is he's a FBI profile of art cop, and he's hunting down Ryan Reynolds, who is the number one art thief in the world, or maybe even number two, and some mysterious art figure or art thief who's doing some other stuff. But Cleopatra's and Mark Antony's eggs that they had, like these jewels. They're trying to get all three of them, and it's like a national treasure, trying to do like an Indiana Jones thing, but it's. I don't know if I would like either one of these characters if it wasn't The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, because I like both of them very much. Both of those guys are two of my favorite actors. Because I like Free Guy, loved Free Guy, one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. It's up there. It was and it was one of Ryan. It was like Ryan Reynolds' Truman Show, right? And he was super likable. He's not very likable in this movie. He's just overall obnoxious in it. And even some of the stuff that he's doing is it's just nonstop, like just the Ryan Reynolds joke. Like but there's nothing like. Look at a movie like what the hell was the one with Sandra Bullock that he was in? Proposal. In that one, he's got his quips, but he's got like a range to the character of what the character was. This is just quip after quip after quip, where he's like, and then they throw in some backstory here and there. Same thing with The Rock. He's got to come back, but he's pretty much just like he's the same character he is in Fast Five, but not as much depth as that character, and not as cool. This character is less cool than that character, but it's like his brother, but but he's the less cool brother. And Gal Gadot is very different, and I like what she's doing this. But it's funny because do I think the movie is very good? Not really. Is it an entertaining watch? Yeah. There's some they have really good chemistry, The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, and then once Gal Gadot gets involved, there's some fun stuff there. But it's not. And I got a couple laughs at some of the things that. I think Ryan Reynolds is less bearable in the first. Ryan Reynolds' character is less bearable in the first 30 minutes.
and then he gets better. But I still want to see how it ends. I'm curious on how it ends. It's not one of those things like, oh, this is unwatchable. It's just like a kind of a just throwaway early 2000s action piece, if that makes sense. I don't know. I got to finish it up. Maybe it ends strong. But it was very, very much watched by a lot of peeps. Last one, Shang-Chi. All right. So this is a non-spoiler as well. I'm going to do a full spoiler on the channel probably a little later today. So I had seen Eternals first. Missed this one. I was not ready at the time to go back to theaters. I am now, but I wasn't at the time when this came out, so I missed it. And I wasn't doing the I don't think they had the premium thing for this one. I think they were just waiting for it to come out and release. So I had heard some really good things about it. There's a lot I loved about this movie. A lot. Overall, it's a pretty solid film. There's some stuff I didn't like. Some of the humor didn't land for me, for sure, and that happens a lot in Marvel films. Some of it seemed formulaic. Some of the stuff that happened, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not sure how much I'm invested enough to care about that, but it is shot beautifully. The martial arts are incredible in this film. I really liked the performances by everybody. There's some surprises in it, and I liked the idea of the kind of the fantastical world they put together, the relationship father and son. They had the 10 rings. I think Awkwafina had some fun stuff to do inside of it, and there was a lot that I loved. So overall, I really enjoyed the film. And I also don't know if maybe it was hype behind it. Maybe I heard a lot beforehand, but I was invested from start to finish. There's no doubt about it. I was invested, but yeah, I don't know. I think if you ask me what I like better, I liked Eternals better. I know not everybody's gonna be on the same page with me on that, but this was more inside of the formulaic stuff in Marvel that I've seen a million times over. There's different stuff for sure. There's different things, and it's a different style. I mean, the martial arts. There's no doubt about it. It's like mind blowing, but it seemed to me the origin story of certain things I'd seen before, where to me, and I know not everyone feels the same way, but Eternals was a different kind of science fiction film that I wasn't expecting. So that's why out of the two of them, if you ask me which ones I liked better, it was that one. But I still enjoyed Shang-Chi very much. I'll do a full spoiler review on it in general. In this today, maybe I'll try. I'll see what I can do. It just depends. I'm trying to get the Rocky one done. I'm trying to get that. And Red Notice, I'll wait because I'm not done with it yet. Okay. Now, before we move on, because I'm going to get to your questions, I want to get to the last, certainly not least, everybody. Magic Spoon is back, and I'm excited to have Magic Spoon back. Absolutely delicious. Love Magic Spoon. Growing up, to me, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid. Problem is that later on in life, you got to give it up because most cereals are just sugar and junk, and we don't, like my kids, we weren't doing it. And for me, you guys know, recently I've been trying to cut down on carbs and sugar on healthy food, and can't eat anything anymore. I was drinking protein shakes and powder for like years, but finally I found a delicious way to get the protein before and after you're working out. I told you about the Fitbit stuff. This helps tremendously. Everybody tries to eat better, but healthy breakfasts don't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors that you're going to love, but without all the bad stuff. Check this out. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. It's only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. There's a variety pack. Here are the 4 flavors. Cocoa, fruity, frosted, and my favorite, peanut butter. Love peanut butter. It's healthy, and it's delicious. That's not easy to do. You mix the cocoa with peanut butter, and it tastes like a peanut butter cup. That's what I do. That's my favorite. It tastes exactly like regular cereal from your childhood, but the difference is it's super nutritious. It's delicious, but it's super healthy. It's super healthy cereal that really brings joy to your mornings for afternoons. Here's what you do. You go to magicspoon.com/bigthing, grab that variety pack, and try it today. And be sure to use that promo code BIGTHING at checkout to save $5 off your order. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they're going to refund the money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/bigthing and use that code BIGTHING to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode. All right. Now, before we get into, we're going to do the I went to my Facebook page, finally got the stupid thing working again. If people were wondering why I wasn't posting on there, Facebook was doing this dumb thing where it kept asking me to verify my my identity, and I kept doing it, and they kept, this is a stupid thing. I finally got it working again. So I want to go back over there. The link in for my Facebook page is here in the description. So I asked for questions on episodes like this. Probably going to do another one of these, maybe even on Wednesday because of the Spider-Man trailer. And I won't get anyone over here in time, so I might do another one just breaking down that trailer or talking about that trailer. But either way, before I get into that, I wanted to show you all this, my lovelies, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Don't miss the biggest event in movie trivia history, the Schmodown Spectacular 6. All of the championships are on the line. Lady Justice Marisol McKee looks to defend her championship for a second time. The Outlaw John Roca, the final match in the Outlaw's storied career. Get your tickets now. TheSchmodownLive.com.
So get over there. You just start following me. You start watching this channel. Haven't been checking it out for a little bit. You can be anywhere near Los Angeles. Get to this event. I am putting everything I have into this event. The team over at Skybound putting everything that they have in this event. The competitors putting everything that they have into this event. This is going to be the biggest event. Schmodownlive.com. Just get your tickets. There's only I think 30 or 40 general admission tickets left. We're doing a full fan expo. We're doing all this stuff. Get there. Come check it out. Hang out with us. I never really watched Schmodown before. I'm not sure. Check it out. Come, just be a part of the energy alone. You don't want to watch some of the digital matches? Don't. But watch Spectacular live. Whether you can see it in person or get it at the pay-per-view. Do it. All right. So what we're going to do now, I had asked you guys for some questions. And you guys sent in some questions. So I took a couple of them, and I will read them, and then I will answer them. That's the point of questions. Here's the first one from Luke Studdard. For branding, how can we change the SCN network to Kristian Harloff? Curious if you had any ideas how the media day for Spectacular is going to look like and any updates on how you're handling the Chandru match. Let's start with the first part. So, as far as branding goes, if you notice when you go to the banner of this channel, it says SEN Presents. The same will be said for the Movie Trivia Schmodown. SEN Presents. The brand itself is the Schmodown Entertainment Network. The idea was to take everything from... It was too complicated on the other channel, right? There was just too much stuff going on. There was Schmodown, it was Big Thing, it was SEN Live, it was reviews, it was backstage, it was just everything. And they said, well, you got to have an identity of what you want each channel to be. So we separated and made the decision to make sure that was that. And then we said, well, we got to have a placeholder for what it is overall, and it's still SEN overall. So SEN will be the Schmodown Entertainment Network. But then I start doing all these trailer reactions, and I start doing all these reviews, and every big thing is just me. And it's like, for a long time, people are, well, where's, like, when you do a search for any of a lot of the pundits out there, it's their name. So I was like, well, what if we just do SEN Presents, and then it's just me. And I do all this stuff because Big Thing's still here, Sith Council, none of those, it's not the Kristian Harloff Star Wars show, the Kristian Harloff podcast. It's the Big Thing. This is the Big Thing. And so we just thought it made a little bit more sense to do it that way. It seems to be working. Some people seem to like the change, so that's why. As far as Media Day, you get some updates on it. We're doing a full press conference with all the Schmodown media. That'll be coming soon. The other thing was Chandru. Just keep watching all the scenes. That's all I can say about that. All right, going back to, thank you again, Luke. Let's go to the next one here. Jordan Victor Anderson. Hello, Christian Harlow. I appreciate the opportunity to ask you a question. Well, thank you for asking. Question. What advice would you give to someone looking to grow their podcast audience, specifically when related to movies? I ask because even though you don't solely do podcasting, I feel you have put in a lot of work to build your audience ever since the early days of Schmoes Know. Great question, Jordan. Thank you very much. So I mentioned it earlier in this episode. Staying connected to your community is the most important, no matter what. No matter what. Having conversations with them, because this is why I think a lot of people sometimes get lost in it. It was why YouTube and social media platforms like this that became popular, because you could be connected. Twitter and Facebook included in this. You can be connected to people that you normally couldn't. Back in the day, you watch someone on television and you say, oh, man, I like that person. But you can't tell them and they can't respond to you and you can't have a conversation with them. This is something that was very different, that when Ellis and I started Schmoes, we made it very clear that we need to connect and find out who the audience is. That's why we were very adamant about creating Schmoville and doing all that stuff. And it's also why I've been so clear about why, to me, this today, I have never had more fun, and I think that out of all the shows I've ever done, Big Thing and Sith Council, easily my favorite shows that I've ever done, and I've had the most fun ever doing. I think Sith Council is a far superior show than anything I ever did on Jedi Council. It's not stuffy. I'm not forced to talk about certain things, just have conversations the way that I used to about Far, Far Away, which was ultimately what led into getting into Jedi Council. But staying connected to the audience and paying and when you're doing it, to start, if you get frustrated with the fact that people aren't listening right away, you're done. You just, or if it makes you stop, then you're done. So I had a friend recently who wanted to do a podcast and was like, oh yeah, I could do the podcast. And I was giving this person advice and saying, okay, do a little YouTube thing. That's too much work. I'm like, it's work. It's not just talking. You got to put in the work. And that's my thing, is that I think that this channel, like, I have goals, right? And set goals. They don't have to be big goals. They can be smaller goals, or they can be big goals, whatever you want to do. But set yourself goals and stay committed to it, and stay and just let your voice, like, what's unique about your voice, have certain people in there, have a social media presence. As much as I hate social media, it's very important. And you can, use it for certain clip outs and things, and play off of things that people are talking about, right? But that you have to be interested in talking about. I made that clear about this. Like, I didn't want to start just doing reviews, and like the reactions that you see me do, it's all stuff that I care about. Now, you can very much just chase down the IPs and chase down what you think is super popular. A lot of people do it, and nothing against people who do it. That's great. That's how people make their living on certain things. I just wanted to do stuff that I actually give a shit talking about. But you should do the same, or you should, just find what you enjoy talking about, and your audience will they'll be there. They'll get there. But stick with it. Alex Tournay. Will you include the Animatrix as part of your Matrix rewatch for the Big Thing? And do you think a Matrix-type series on HBO Max will happen? If this new film is a success, there is so much potential and room for storytelling in that universe that it'd be a shame not to explore it. Thoughts? There's nothing that you're saying here that I don't agree with. So the first part of your question, yes, Animatrix is absolutely part of it. It is canon. It is part of the overall story. The question is, when do we watch it? Do we watch it second? Because I think it connects. I even think that Animatrix even works before Matrix, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know yet. I got to see. We haven't started planning it out yet on the watch order on how we're going to do it, but it's going to be myself and Coy and Kate Mulligan, who's never seen a single Matrix movie, and we wanted to take a different approach this time. Winston will be back for the Batman movies, and I think that once Matrix is over, Winston, myself, and Coy are just going to start doing episodes of Big Thing together. People seem to like the three of us together, and I have a blast talking with those guys. So, but as far as Matrix series go, I think it's just like you said, it's a matter of success. If they set it up the right way and they open it up to where it could be something, that'd be great. And keep it open, and don't kill Neo. I just feel like this is going to be something where you just feel like they're going to kill Neo because they should. You shouldn't. Don't kill him. Yeah. So I think it's possible for an HBO Max series. They're certainly probably going to be talking about it. It just depends on the success of it. But let's see how this one goes before we start making plans on that. But I like the idea. I think there's one more. Randy Avellini. Avenel. Not even close to Avellini. Sorry, my friend. Randy Avenel. You mentioned a while back that you might try to hold a kind of live stream telethon or a GoFundMe to raise money for the faction prize at the end of the season. Have you thought more about that? Also, will there be an after spectacular gathering where we can buy you all a drink or three? I don't know about the gathering. I'm certainly going to be going home because I'm probably going to be exhausted. But I don't know about a gathering afterwards. Usually always is one at the end. So just, keep your ears to the ground. I'm sure you'll find something there for sure. As far as the GoFundMe, yes. That I'm hoping to make an announcement for within the next couple of days. Because what happened was, for people who aren't aware, the factions were supposed to be playing for a big prize at the end of the year, and the idea was put enough merch out there for the factions, and then once we got to a certain amount, a percentage of that profit would go to the prize. Sold shirts, but there was not enough for a profit, so there was no percentage of it, so they're playing for a big fat goose egg right now. I can't let that stand. I got to figure out a way to have them play for something. So what I think I'm going to do is to start the GoFundMe, tell the audience what we're doing, do a full live stream to push people to that GoFundMe, and then hopefully, there's going to be like tiers, right? If we hit a certain point amount, that will go to the full prize. If we get past that, then we'll start pushing to the second place, third place, fourth place. So, that's coming soon. Hopefully, within the next day or two, I can announce it officially. But it's very close to becoming reality. All right, listen. It was the show. It was a fun one today. It was a long one, like I said. There's more stuff to talk about, but we'll talk. I mean, the Spider-Man thing's going to take over everything. So the trailer will be out tomorrow. I'll do a trailer reaction for it. I'll pace out my reviews over the next couple of days leading up to the trailer reaction. And then Ellis was supposed to come over tomorrow morning. We were supposed to do an episode for Wednesday, but I think I'm going to hold him back to maybe have him come in for the next one, or maybe even if he can come in on Wednesday and we can film something for Big Thing for the Spider-Man stuff, because that's going to be the talk of it, especially if Toby and Andrew wind up popping up into this thing. But that's it, man. That's it. Thank you guys so much. Once again, please head on over to theschmodownlive.com. Get your tickets. And if you haven't, subscribe to this channel. Click that notification button on YouTube if you're not checking it out. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast feed. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here today. Keep up on the channel. We got a lot going on. Appreciate it. Appreciate everything that you do. See you next time.